Marcus Rivera's cleats echoed against the concrete tunnel as he walked toward the locker room for what he knew would be the last time as a visiting player at Providence Park. The roar of 25,000 Portland Timbers fans still rang in his ears, but it wasn't the sound of celebration. It was the hollow ache of a 3-1 defeat that had just ended Seattle Sounders' playoff hopes. At 34, with knees that creaked like old floorboards and a left shoulder that hadn't been right since 2019, Marcus could feel the weight of 15 MLS seasons pressing down on him like a lead blanket. The trade call came 3 days later. "Marcus, it's Dave." His agent's voice carried that particular tone reserved for career-altering news. "Portland wants you, 1-year deal. They're willing to take on your full salary." Marcus stared out the window of his Seattle apartment, watching the Space Needle pierce the grey November sky. Portland, home. The city where he'd kicked his first ball in Youth League, where his father had worked double shifts at the shipyard to pay for club fees, where his mother still lived in the same house on Division Street with faded newspaper clippings of his goals yellowing on the refrigerator. "Who's the coach?" Marcus asked, though something in his gut already knew the answer. "Alex Santos. You remember him, right? Kid from your academy days." The phone nearly slipped from Marcus's hand. Alex Santos. The scrawny 15-year-old with thick glasses and a notebook full of tactical diagrams who used to shadow Marcus during Portland's youth training sessions. The kid who asked 1,000 questions about positioning and movement, who stayed after practice to pick up cones while Marcus signed autographs. That was nearly 20 years ago. Portland's training facility looked different, newer, sleeker, with state-of-the-art recovery pools and a tactical analysis room that resembled NASA's mission control. Marcus stood in the parking lot, gym bag slung over his shoulder, trying to reconcile this gleaming complex with the modest fields where he'd first learned to love the game. He turned to see Danny Castellanos, Portland's captain, jogging over with a grin that could power the stadium lights. Danny had been Marcus's teammate in Seattle 3 seasons ago, a tireless box-to-box midfielder who'd found his home in the Rose City. "Can't believe you're actually here, man," Danny said, pulling Marcus into a hug. "Feels like the universe correcting itself or something." "Yeah, well, the universe has a twisted sense of timing," Marcus replied, but he couldn't help smiling. Danny's enthusiasm was infectious, always had been. They walked toward the main building together, Danny chattering about the team, the city, how much everyone was looking forward to Marcus's arrival. But as they approached the conference room, Danny's voice dropped. "Listen, Marcus, I should probably warn you about Alex Rivera." Marcus froze. The voice was deeper now, confident in a way that 15-year-old Alex Santos had never been, but unmistakably familiar. He turned to see a man in his 30s wearing a Portland Timbers polo, athletic build, close-cropped beard, and those same intense dark eyes behind contact lenses instead of thick glasses. "Coach," Marcus said, extending his hand. "Good to see you again." Alex's handshake was firm, professional. "Welcome home. Ready to get to work?" The first training session was a disaster. Alex's system was unlike anything Marcus had encountered in his decade and a half of professional soccer. Fluid formations that shifted every few seconds, inverted fullbacks, false nines dropping into midfield pockets that seemed to exist only in Alex's imagination. The other players moved with practiced precision through these complex patterns, while Marcus felt like he was trying to solve calculus in a foreign language. "Rivera, you're dropping too deep," Alex called out during a small-sided game. "Stay higher, trust your teammates to find you." Marcus gritted his teeth. He'd been reading the game, making intelligent runs, doing what had made him one of MLS's most consistent goal scorers for over a decade. But Alex's system demanded something different, something that went against every instinct Marcus had developed. After practice, Marcus lingered in the locker room until the younger players had filtered out. Alex was still on the field, reviewing video on his tablet with the assistant coaches. Marcus walked over, his cleats scraping against the artificial turf. "Got a minute?" Alex looked up, those analytical eyes studying Marcus the way they once studied tactical diagrams. "What's on your mind?" "This system of yours," Marcus began, trying to keep his voice even. "It's complex." "It's effective," Alex replied. "We finished third in the Western Conference last season using these principles." "I get that, but maybe we could find a way to incorporate some more traditional elements. Use my experience, my instincts." "Your instincts are 15 years out of date." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks, the same fire that had driven him through countless battles against younger, faster defenders. "My instincts put the ball in the net 127 times in MLS play," Marcus said quietly. "And my tactics got us to the conference championship." Alex's voice remained calm, maddeningly professional. "Look, Marcus, I respect what you've accomplished. You were my hero when I was a kid. But this isn't 2010. The game has evolved." Marcus wanted to argue, to point out all the ways experience trumped innovation, but something in Alex's tone, not dismissive exactly, but absolutely certain, made him bite back the words. 3 weeks into preseason, Marcus seriously considered retirement. His body ached in new ways as he struggled to adapt to Alex's demanding system. The constant movement, the precise timing required for the intricate passing sequences, the mental energy needed to process information and make split-second decisions in formations that seemed to change with every breath. It was exhausting. Worse than the physical demands was the growing realization that he might be truly finished, not just old, but obsolete. The other players picked up Alex's concepts intuitively, their younger minds flexible enough to bend around these new tactical realities. Marcus felt like a relic trying to operate modern machinery. He was sitting alone in his car after a particularly frustrating session when his phone rang. "Mijo, you sound tired," his mother said before he'd even spoken. "Just training hard, Mama." "You're thinking too much. You always think too much when you're scared." Marcus almost smiled despite himself. "I'm not scared. You were the same when you were 8 years old and afraid you wouldn't make the select team. Thinking, worrying, trying to be perfect instead of just playing. This is different, Mama. The game has changed. I might not be good enough anymore. You think that boy Alex doesn't know who you are? You think he asked for you because he felt sorry for an old man?" Marcus was quiet. "He learned from watching you, Mijo. Maybe now you learn from watching him." The breakthrough came during a scrimmage against Portland State University. Marcus was playing his usual role, making runs in behind, looking for the killer pass, trying to find the spaces that had served him so well for so long. Nothing was working. The college defenders, quick and organized, easily tracked his movements. Frustrated, Marcus stopped thinking about what he was supposed to do and started watching what was actually happening around him. He saw Alex on the sideline, hands moving like a conductor, orchestrating the symphony of movement that his teammates had mastered. He saw the spaces opening and closing in patterns, the way possession flowed through different zones of the field, like water finding its level. In the 73rd minute, something clicked. Instead of making his usual diagonal run toward goal, Marcus dropped deeper into the pocket between Portland State's midfield and defense. The ball came to him with time and space, exactly where Alex's system said it would. Without thinking, Marcus played a simple pass to the overlapping fullback and continued his run, not toward goal, but toward the far post, pulling defenders with him and opening space for Danny to arrive unmarked at the penalty spot. Goal. As the team celebrated, Marcus caught Alex's eye. The young coach nodded once, A small gesture, but Marcus recognized the approval. The same look Alex used to get when he finally grasped a concept during those long-ago training sessions. The season opener against Seattle was poetry. Marcus scored twice, but more importantly, he finally understood. Alex's system wasn't about abandoning instinct. It was about channeling that instinct through new patterns, new possibilities. The runs Marcus had been making his entire career were still there. They just started and ended in different places. His first goal came from a perfectly timed move into the half space, receiving Danny's pass and finishing with the inside of his foot. Exactly the kind of simple, effective play that had made him a star. But he'd arrived in that position through a sequence of movements that would have been impossible in any system he'd played in before. His second goal was pure magic, a flowing move that involved all 11 players, the ball never leaving the ground. Defenders pulled and twisted until space opened like a flower blooming. Marcus's finish was just the final brushstroke on a masterpiece Alex had orchestrated. After the match, as Marcus signed autographs for kids wearing jerseys with his name and number, he saw Alex standing near the tunnel, arms crossed, watching the celebration with satisfaction. "Hell of a system, coach," Marcus called out. Alex walked over, and for a moment, the professional mask slipped. Marcus saw the 15-year-old kid again, the one who used to dream about tactics and possibilities. "Hell of a player," Alex replied. "Always have been." Portland won the MLS Cup that year. Marcus scored the winning goal in the final, a simple tap-in from 6 yards that was the culmination of the most beautiful team move either of them had ever been part of. As confetti fell and 70,000 people screamed themselves hoarse, Marcus found Alex in the chaos of celebration. They embraced without words, player and coach, mentor and student, past and future finally reconciled. Marcus's last season had become his greatest triumph, not despite the changes Alex demanded, but because of them. Later, in the quiet of the empty locker room, Marcus hung up his jersey for the final time. He thought about the scared 8-year-old his mother had described, about the curious teenager who used to ask endless questions, about the journey that had brought them both home. Some stories end with vindication, others with acceptance. This one ended with understanding, the recognition that evolution and tradition aren't enemies, but partners in an endless dance towards something better. Marcus Rivera retired a champion, taught by the student who had never stopped learning from him.